Welcome to the podcast. My name is David Shanhun, and these are the chats I wish I could have had with someone as I've created life as a full-time musician. If you're on that road and you need a friend, or you need to hear the same stories and struggles that you're going through from another human's mouth, you're in the right place. Connect with me at davidshanhun.com and let's move you into that space where you're really thriving and sharing your gifts with the world. Let's go. Alright, episode 1. I am recording this. Welcome along. I have written down so many chats that I want to have and I want to share, and we're going to get through them. I'm going to take your requests on board as well to talk about different topics. But this is just me. This is me, uncensored. I'm not editing this. However it goes is going to be how it goes. And I'm going to be sharing about the joys, the struggles, the fun, the emotional roller coaster of life as a musician and a sensitive and emotional human as well, which really leads me to today's episode. I got the nudge that I needed to share this. I needed to start having these chats where it's just real, where there's gigs where you leave and you're so low that you're like, what am I doing? Well, should I be doing music at all? Like, I've got nothing left in the tank. To the absolute elation of like, yes, everything's working. Oh my gosh, it's happening effortlessly. People are calling me, and I feel so good about this path. I'm definitely doing what I should be doing, and life is amazing. But I wanted to read a message I got on Instagram, and you'll know if this was you. I'm reading it anonymously, but this was really the day as I designed the podcast cover, the image. I knew exactly what I was going to talk about. I have a list of things written down that I'm like, man, I need to share this with people because, fuck. I'm emotional doing this because there's people like me that sometimes are on a really fucking lonely path, and there's people that don't understand what you're going through. They can conceptualize it, but it's different. And there's people around you that are really, really well-meaning, but they won't give you good advice because they're not in your industry. They're not going through what you're going through. And that can be incredibly tough to explain. So anyway, I had designed the podcast image. I knew I needed to do it. I started jotting down notes, and I got this message that was just like, damn, I need to do it. So I'm going to read it. Mate, being ambitious and a sensitive fucking musician is a lethal combo. and honestly, in both ways, that's what's so good and so rewarding for your audiences when you're vulnerable and emotional. It's also what's super freaking hard when you're going through that emotion and navigating it yourself. When you pour your heart into something repeatedly and nobody gives a shit, it wears you down. Then you have a really good gig or something and you're back to believing again. Amazing. But yeah, lately I've been struggling with it all, to be honest. Motivation, self-belief, it's it. Can you relate? I totally can relate. And I got your message, brother, and that was the point where I was just like, there was no longer any question. I obviously have my own thoughts and judgments about doing this podcast. How will it go? Part of me is like, there's a little part of me that's like, why are you doing a podcast? Of all things, you're starting a podcast. You're doing, you've got a tour in a month that the promo is still unedited on the camera. That needs to happen. I've got a bunch of shows. Interestingly, I'm doing a personal development course that runs from 9 p.m. till 5 a.m. New Zealand time this week, as well as gigs over the weekend. It is a hectic time. And sometimes I just get these things where it's like, it doesn't matter about all of that stuff that's going on. For some reason, today's the day I needed to record this and start the podcast. And I wrote down for the title of this first podcast, stop stopping before you start. And I see this so much in myself, and I see it in other people, and I see it really, really commonly in musicians and creatives, is it's like, you have an idea, and it's a good idea, and who knows what it will lead to. There's some enthusiasm, some energy that comes through you where you're like, yes, cool. And then it's like, there's thoughts that come up. What am I going to share? What are people going to think about David doing a podcast? Why would I listen to this human? Like, why don't I go watch an interview of Ed Sheeran? He's way more successful and famous than I am, right? But I realized there's a gift that I have to share, and it's not the same gift as Ed Sheeran. He has his own gifts and his own journey and learnings to share. There's a voice that you have, that only you have, that gifts something that will contribute an amazing difference for people in your life. And I've put off recording this, even though that message is from a while ago. I had the podcast image sorted, and you know what? The thought that got me was like, I need to get the audio intro and what I'm going to say first. And as soon as I have that, and then maybe an ending, and I understand how podcasts work and how I'm going to upload it and how it gets to the different platforms, I need to understand all that. And then I can start. And it's so backwards. It's like, I just needed to turn the camera on. And for me, I put, what's the date today? The 19th of October. If you watch my stories on Instagram on that day, I know you can't go back and check, but I put out, I'm recording the first episode of the podcast today. And again, I just knew I had to start. It's an incredibly awkward time to be starting a podcast, but it was like, no, today's the day. I'm going to put it out there so that it's like I'm accountable. I've said that and it needs to happen. And secondly, it's like turning the camera on, however this goes, I just had to get over the judgment. Will people like it? Will they not? It doesn't matter. This is either going to be something that's for you and you're enjoying this chat, and you know, and there's something that I can gift through these conversations, or you're going to listen and go, what? I don't want to listen to this, and that's fine. Just if you're not digging it, stop, hit pause, change the channel, go to something else. But I really, so many of us are stopping before we start. Nothing ever gets off the ground, or we start something. And one of the things I had on the YouTube channel recently, on 2 videos that I made a long time ago, was a guy comment and say, "It's so disgusting. You have bare feet in your video. Please get some." It translated as get some stockings, but you know, put some socks on, something. And then a separate comment saying the same thing on another video. And I realized that those comments, when you see them out there, it's like those are the things that can hold you back. What if that happens? What if people don't like it? What if people say, man, that's 10 minutes of my life I'll never get back? It's like, yeah, that's you're not wrong. But you're sharing something that is valuable for a whole lot of other people. And it takes being vulnerable and willing to go out there. And you probably will get some of those comments. Some of the things that you're thinking in your head that will happen, that you're afraid of, you're scared of if you release the next song, if you write in your songwriting, if you write vulnerably, if you do a live, whether it's a podcast, whether you go live performing, whether you perform live at a venue, some of the things that are holding you back are thoughts like, what if someone thinks I'm shit? What if someone didn't enjoy that? What if someone is angry that I didn't wear shoes? You know, do I then need to make sure I wear shoes in every future video? No. And the thing that I find funny is that person commenting that, I'm not going to go back and edit those videos. They're already up there. If that offends you, I'm okay with that. You can be offended, but just stop watching. If that's too crucial, stop watching. Go on to the next thing. Same with putting out music. It's like, I listened to this person and didn't really enjoy them. It's like, stop listening. Go and find the next person that you do enjoy. So, look, we're going to wrap this up. If there's something that's on your mind, that's on your radar, that you've been wanting to do, that you'll know. This is not about me saying, do this, this strategy. It's like, as I say this, if there's something on your radar that you've been wanting to launch, you've been wanting to do, you've had a whole lot of thoughts and judgments around it, just go and make the first one, or just book the studio, or maybe it's even just announced to your friends, I'm going to start this. I'm turning this into a business, or I'm going to put my face out there with something. You will get your own internal message on what that is. I have no clue. So take that away, make a note, write down, get started, take some action. Those thoughts will come up. What if this happens? What if that happens? Just hit the record button, just roll with it. And thank you for joining me on podcast episode 1. You can reach out on the website if you want to connect with me, and if there's topics that you'd love to chat about on this podcast, it will predominantly be me. From time to time, we will have some other people on, but predominantly this is the format. This is how things are going to go. So I look forward to seeing you on the next one, and go start whatever it is you've been waiting to start. Ciao.